force you to cough either, but yeah.
But here we are.
Here we are. We didn't even know we were going to do this.
We didn't.
Hey, everybody, it's Matt, and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. It's Thursday. It's wrestling day. It's
wrestling day.
I thought if I said that, you'd say it's not.
Yeah, I went into professional wrestling for a few years.
Not what I
actually heard that phrase the other day.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I thought you would say, no, it's Boxing Day. And so, yeah, it's not wrestling day, it's Boxing Day.
You're right.
But let's put a pin in that because I want to know who went into professional wrestling the other day. And it's the day after Christmas.
Uh-huh.
So we really didn't know if we were going to be here, but we we thought, well, we're in the shop. Mm-hmm. You're all the way across town. So you're like, I actually said,
you said, are we going to do a video? And you said, I think I know what you're going to say. And I said, yeah, I think we should do a video. And you said, that's not what I thought you would say.
Not at all what I thought you were
going to say. If I'm here, I'm fulfilling my my obligations.
Yeah. But anyway, you guys are here. We're here. Let's make a video. Let's do this.
Let's make a video.
And Dylan is in the chat, and he is he has got the strength to endure, and he's going to be doing a thing tonight too.
Good.
So I don't know if like Flipside was open today or not. I don't know. But in my opinion,
that was a lost opportunity.
In my opinion, the day after Christmas is the busiest day for returns of the whole year.
That's what they say.
It's just my opinion.
Yeah. Do you remember when you were a kid and you would go and it was just your opinion? I don't know. And there would be lines for returns.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. And I don't think that's a thing anymore, but it was okay. Now it's time to take all the crap back and get what I really want.
Yeah.
I always used to I'd get money for Christmas for several years. And one year I got a record player, a really cool one with an 8-track.
Ooh.
And got some records, but I didn't get any 8-tracks. And I got some money, so I needed to go and buy me an 8-track.
An 8-track, yeah. Remember what you got?
Uh-huh.
What was it?
Beach Boys in Concert.
Cool.
Love that album.
That's cool.
And you haven't lived until you've listened to an 8-track so many times that you know where the skips come.
Yeah, so where the tracks go.
50 years later almost, you still remember. And every time you hear that album, you go, it's the little old lady from Click.
I had a record that I bought multiple times because I thought there was a skip in it. And every time when I hear it, and it was on a particular song, and every time I hear that song now, that skip's still there. And I don't know if they were all recorded with a skip, like there was some weird thing. But anyway, Dastardly Dave, who sent me a Christmas wishes yesterday, along with a lot of other you guys, sent us a super chat and says that Brian made him do it. Merry Christmas. And thank you, Dave. I hope that you had America. Was Dave in Vegas for Christmas?
I don't think he was in Vegas for Christmas. I think he was back home, but they were in Vegas last weekend.
Oh, okay, that's right. That's
for a birthday.
You are right.
Yeah,
hope that was
think
fun.
That's the way that worked out. Yeah. I had his Easy Top 8-track that had I'm Bad, I'm Nationwide. It actually skipped right in the middle of I'm Bad, Click, I'm Nationwide.
So, or you could start it at I'm Nationwide.
I'm Nationwide. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
I got so good at 8-tracks. Knowing where to hit the button to the next track to hear the song that I wanted to hear again. I had my own little system of, not hearing the songs I wanted to. Yeah. And it was a good time.
Listening to music is very different now than it was because when I know you said that you had a system that where you could skip stuff, but it didn't used to be easy to just go, no, I don't want to listen to that song. Let's completely switch artists and genres and go to the next thing. And you can do it with Spotify or whatever.
Well, or even LPs, you could pick the needle up and move it to the stuff you wanted to. An 8-track, you can't really do that. I didn't have one that you could fast forward. You'd have to listen to one of the 4 tracks until you got to whatever you wanted. And they changed the order of stuff to try and make it fit 4 tracks. And,
that's right.
Yeah. And then I had some big Radio Shack cans.
Gotta have those.
Yeah, with a coily cord. Maybe that's why I love coily cords now. And that the tape hiss was insane.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm sure I have hearing damage from tape hiss from when I was 7.
I remember buying albums. They were records, but they were albums, collections of songs, albums. And they were expensive for someone who was 13, 14, 15, even now. But but they were expensive. So, and you didn't know what you were going to get. So you kind of had to convince yourself that you liked it. The classic example is if you were like into heavy metal, but you had no idea who Molly Hatchet was, and you bought the album based on the album cover. You'd be like, whoa, this is going to be so rad. And you get it. And I like Molly Hatchet, but it's not what I would consider to be like, the album cover does not match the music. I forget who that guy who painted all this.
Carpet doesn't match the drapes.
No.
Oh, that's a different phrase.
No, that's fine. I mean, no, it doesn't match the drape. I forget who the guy was who painted all that stuff. You guys are probably Maui knows. Anyway, the important thing is not that, but listening to music is very different now. Now you can you don't have to buy anything. You just listen to stuff on YouTube or
and it's funny the time period in which I had no patience, I was required to have the most patience. With listening to music, right? And now that I have some patience and I'm willing to, listen to something, a side of music or an entire album or CD or whatever we're calling them now. When you download or you go to like Apple Music and you don't buy it, but you play the whole album. Are we still calling them albums?
Well, they're collections of songs. So I made a point of saying albums.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what we're calling them.
If you could have a photo album, right?
Yeah. Okay. So and I'm willing to listen to all of that without skipping around. And back in the day, no. I have a record. The first record that I ever got was the year before I got the good stereo, and I got and it was for Christmas, and I got a best of Elvis Gold.
Do you remember what the first album you bought with your own money was?
No, let me think about it for a second.
Do you guys remember what the first album that you bought with your own money was? Leave it in the chat section because I want to know.
But anyway,
Hold on. Mine was the Ramones' Subterranean Jungle. Okay, go ahead.
I wore out because I had this little kids turntable. And if you pick up that album today, you can see which songs I played over and over and over and over again because they're gray. The rest of the album is black. They are gray.
Wow.
I played it so much on that with that crappy needle. It still plays. Probably tears all my good stuff up now, but it still plays.
That's the way that goes.
So
Glorified G set.
If that 8-track counts, I'm going to say that.
I don't know why it doesn't count.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go to the comment section before we get started with the rest of the show here. Shane says typical Motley Crue album, 2 good songs and the rest is filler. Dan says like AC/DC, 2 new songs and the rest from older album. I don't know that that's true, Dan, but I'm kind of an AC/DC junkie. By the way, Dan, I got your video and I watched it. That was funny. Yeah, what was it that Angus Young said? Someone said you guys have made the same album a dozen times. He said, hogwash. We made the same album 13 times.
That's right.
Dylan says, Phil Collins, No Jacket Required. I guess that was the first album he bought. Dog D Trim says, Derek and the Dominoes 8-track. Jeffrey Egan says, Jan and Dean's greatest hits. Yeah, will resonate with you.
There you go. I got that one. My uncle gave me that on a tape the next year.
Okay.
My birthday.
Jeffrey Egan said, Doc says Parallel Lines by Blondie. Dan says America by America. We're going to work on you a little bit, Dan. Dastardly Dave says Back in Black, had the album and cassette. Guitar Doc 71 DC says a reprint of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Someone says Van Halen 1984, the Kinks' greatest hits at Desert Island disc. Eric Lettinger said that. 3J Music says first album was my own money was Motley Crue, Girls, Girls, Girls. Before that, I stole my brother and sister's records. Brian Mills, Kiss Alive. Yeah, so there's a bunch of cool stuff here.
You can tell a lot about people by their first albums.
Sure.
and their first albums they're willing to admit.
Sure.
I mean, they may have bought a Perry Como, not
You
knowing any
never
better.
know. Yeah.
But he's on TV.
He's on TV.
Yeah. And
So
I'll bet you they're still into that stuff.
Perry Como?
No.
Oh yeah, the first
Whatever-
yeah. Like if you
I still love that Derek and the Dominoes album.
sure.
Yeah, why not? You were forced to listen to it over and over, and because it was the only thing you had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was that or the radio.
Mm-hmm.
So
You had to get good at liking those albums, and some of those albums are easy to like.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and you like a couple of songs on a side or 3 songs on a side, and it's easy to listen to the other 2, and then you get to where you like those 2. And yeah, then you flip them over.
I am not 100% sure what I'm drinking here, but I think this is that mushroom coffee stuff. It's not good.
Oh, that might be what it is.
It's not tasty.
That looks gross.
Yeah, dude. There's like goop coffee
Schmegma.
gop on here. Joy put it in a bag for me and said, "Take this to the shop and drink it."
Oh man, I'm scared now.
Yeah. Anyway, so so what we're here to talk about today, Chris, is on Boxing Day. Does your guitar tech suck? Now, we have been getting an awful lot of calls lately. I took my guitar to my guitar tech and he said this, and this.
Okay.
And how do you know? So how do you know if your guitar tech's any good? And I've got some theories on that.
Okay.
Let me tell you this much. This is going to be something that you're going to disagree with. Oh, but before I do that, the picture on the thumbnail is one of Scott French's guitars. Scott French does not suck.
Okay.
I consider him a colleague of mine because he went to Roberto Ben too, although albeit quite a bit after me.
Okay.
But Scott is
so he's still young and fresh.
I don't know about that, but Scott is a terrific guitar builder and a cool guy, and I love the guitars that he makes, but I thought it was a cool picture, so I used it. Anyway, plus we've got these cool Paisley guitars here, and the one that he had, it had a Paisley pickguard.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, but I'm going to say something that is very, this is going to be controversial, and there are 50 people here. As soon as I say this, the number will drop. It's just going to bottom out.
Plummet to like 14.
Miff that.
15.
Yeah. If your
Someone
guitar
will just
tech,
walk away from the computer, they won't turn it off, but they won't be here.
Yeah.
Okay.
If your guitar tech worked at the Fender Custom Shop, he sucks.
Okay.
Let's look for number up 49. We're going down already.
Okay.
So here's why I say that. It would be sort of like if you, and that's a bad analogy because I don't think everybody would get it. But the simple fact of the matter is that if you work in the Fender Custom Shop and you're basing your entire guitar tech abilities on that, well, you might know how to work on a Strat or a Tele or a jazz bass.
Okay.
But that's pretty much it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like you don't have any experience with, if that's all you did, you don't have a whole lot of experience with set neck instruments or neck through instruments or truss rods that you didn't use at the Fender Custom Shops, or dare I say it, guitars with no pick guards. Now, then I get it that there's a handful of those, but you know, what do you think about that sweeping accusation? And I'm not trying to smack talk people who work at the Fender Custom Shop. Don't hear that. Don't hear me trying to insult the Fender Custom Shop, because I love those guys and they do a lot of good work. But if you work at the Fender Custom Shop, what I'm getting at is you pretty much just work on Fenders.
Okay.
Right?
That might be true. I've never actually taken a guitar to a guitar tech. I know very few guitar techs.
Mm-hmm.
Firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
We're just talking setup on guitars.
No. We're talking about if you get a guitar and you're like, I need to have something done to this guitar. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go down to
I'm going to load it in my
the
car.
Austin City Limits guitar tech guy or whatever, in whatever town or I'm going to go to Athens, Georgia, and I'm going to go to the big music shop, and I'm going to take it to the guitar tech there because he's the man. Know how I know he's the man? Because he works in Athens, Georgia, or Chicago, Illinois, or New York, and they may or may not be any good.
Yeah, I don't know how you find somebody other than by word of mouth, and that word of mouth may be convoluted and queered by the person that told the previous person, and you may still not get exactly what you want. I have no idea. They have courses you can take and schools that you can go to.
Sally Struthers talks about it all the time. Gunsmithing, guitar tech.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Paralegal. You can do it all.
And yeah, I don't know. We hear a lot of stories about bad guitar tech.
We do.
And yeah, and they're just people telling stories. They're not, our guitars or anything in particular. Just, I took a guitar to this guy and I got it back and it wasn't any better, or he didn't do anything that I wanted him to do. It's like, well, how did you find out about that guy? Well, somebody told me about him.
Or he works at the Guitar Center.
Or he works at a big famous guitar store.
He's got the coolest tattoos.
Yeah. He's got long hair and a beard.
He's got his band is the most bitchin' band in town.
Yeah, and I think there's I don't know. It's
Mike Jones, don't talk about yourself like that. You're better than that, sir.
Yeah, I think for me, if I was taking it to somebody, I think I'd have to know something about how they go about it, how they approach it. Maybe a little one-on-one time. Maybe a little, you don't just take your guitar and hand it to them and they write up a ticket and go, okay, I'll fix it.
Yeah,
a little one-on-one bench time up front. Well, let's take a look at this thing, see what's going on.
First of all, no one's going to care more about your guitar than you.
Yeah.
No matter who your tech is. Now, okay, Chris, you and I, as manufacturers and builders, I still take a lot of pride in every guitar that we make because until you buy them, they're my guitars.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean?
I think it's our guitar until they receive it.
Well, yeah. You're now the curator of said guitar.
Still kind of my guitar. Yeah. Don't go fucking it up.
Well, so we got some bizarro emails from a guy who they were very curious emails. I don't want to call the guy because I don't know the guy. I don't know if he's watching right now.
Nice enough.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But here's the thing.
Weird.
I got these emails. It was like, hey, I need a new logo for my headstock. And I'm like, well, that's odd. Just send us the guitar. We'll put a new logo.
Well, I think you said, well, what's wrong with it?
No, I said, I'm not sending you a logo, but if you send me the guitar, I'll put a new logo on it.
But you followed up with, well, what's wrong with the logo?
Well, no,
we've never had one fail.
Actually, what he said next was, I can't send it to you because it's my favorite guitar in the whole world and I can't send it to you. And I'm like, how long has he had this instrument? Yeah. Has the paint failed? So that's what.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, that was an interesting email back and forth.
Now, long story, somewhat shorter. As it turns out, the paint hadn't failed.
No, the paint had not failed.
But I said, he's like, I've got this great tech who can put it on for me. And that's when I'm like, red light. What? Wait a minute. Who's the tech? Where does the tech work? And because now we're talking about something, if you have a logo, because all of our logos, I don't think we have anything that's not buried in paint.
Correct.
There might be one or two guitars in the last 15 years that the logo's on top, like maybe a class one.
Yeah, there might be something like that. There's some burned in logos, which obviously aren't going to fail.
Those aren't going to fail.
But yeah, everything we do, Yeah, if it's a black headstock, it's black and then
Uh-huh.
logo and then clear coat
Yeah.
over the top of both.
Yeah.
So for it to fail, you gotta pick at it.
And that was my concern. And I don't want to talk about what happened to the logo or anything, but to me, if your guitar tech says I'm good enough I would need to see your spray booth first. Right?
Yeah, it would be virtually impossible to put one of our logos back on 100% without being able to see some sort of weird thing on there.
Yeah.
And for the next user to go, well, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
This looks terrible.
Yeah.
Is this the kind of work those guys do?
That's the
And
problem.
The answer is no. It's not the kind of work we do. It's the kind of work the tech does.
And so that's the whole, thank you. But I've just proven my point, which is, does your guitar tech suck? What are some red flags to look for in case? And then you guys are helping me out here with a bunch of stuff.
Can I sign off on that? Can I
Yeah.
Can I send a letter with those logos saying, for one thing, I don't even think most guys are going to know how to put it on.
Probably not.
You know, not because they're stupid, just because it's a process. And 3, yeah, why am I responsible for what you did to our guitar now?
Yeah, well, once you buy the guitar, of course, you can do whatever you want.
You absolutely
cut
can.
the headstock off.
Yeah, but then you can't call me and go,
can I get a new logo?
Yeah, and I was closing in on being, somewhat sympathetic and being like, if you send us a guitar, I'll fix it for you and send it back.
And my fear was, if the paint has failed, send it in and we'll make it look right and we'll send it back to you good as new.
Yeah.
Turns out that's not what happened, but yeah. But yeah, just this notion of my tech knows what to do. So if your tech is too scared to adjust the truss rod, you don't have a good tech. So, or if, you know what, I couldn't get the buzz to go away, so I just raised the bridge all the way up. Did you adjust the truss rod? Huh?
What's that do?
What's that? Yeah. That's your tech stinks if that's. And we had that happen the other day. Someone's tech said this neck is the frets are high.
Yeah, there's several. Yeah, that was the first step. That was the first thing they did, is they checked a bunch of frets. Okay. We found several high ones. Okay, send the guitar back. We'll take a look at it. I know there's no high frets.
Yeah.
You know how I know?
I do, but yeah, but let's
and so he sends it back, and the first thing I do is take a look at the truss rod, and it needs a truss rod adjustment. It's got a smiley face.
Yeah.
Or a frowny face. That's why there's high frets, is because where it starts to frown on either end, they rock. So the first thing I did to that guitar is adjust the truss rod and let it sit for a minute.
Yeah.
And then I went through and checked the frets, and of course they were all fine, and then went from there.
Do you think that people realize that do you not realize if you get a guitar that comes from one climate and goes to a completely different climate, a completely different humidity, a completely different yada, 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 it is highly unlikely that it will not need a truss rod adjustment coming up.
That's why they make the truss rod fairly easy to access on most guitars.
When we drove from Colorado to Nashville, it took 2 days.
It took 2 days.
And when we got there, every guitar needed a truss rod adjustment.
Well, not every guitar. The one that sticks out in my mind, because I sort of looked at them as we were putting them up. Second day of the show, hand a guy a guitar. He looks at it. He hands it back to me. And I'm like, I could just feel that the action was ridiculously low. Like the strings were almost on the board. So he leaves, and I look at it, and I'm like, oh, shit, this thing needs, it's got a big frowny in it. So I adjust the truss rod, and the action comes right back to where it needed to be, and it was fine the rest of the time. Then when we got back here, after a couple days, got to readjust it the other direction. Yeah.
So if your tech doesn't adjust the truss rod and just starts goofing around with the bridge,
and that's where you start. You don't, but here's the deal. Most people expect the worst. when you have something
Yes.
that doesn't work.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Ah, shit, it's out of tune.
They sold me a
this
lemon.
guitar must be a dud.
Yeah.
Or maybe it just needs to be tuned.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
It
Oh, the
just
action on
needs-
this guitar is terrible. There's a bunch of buzzing notes.
Yeah.
This guitar sucks. This
Mhm.
is terrible. Maybe it just needs a truss rod adjustment. 9 times out of 10, that's probably what it needs, especially if it's a good guitar in 2024.
Yeah.
Or even a guitar in 2024.
All right, Chris, let's go to the chat section and see
Okay.
what the guys are up to here. I'm gonna skip around here. Took my first guitar to the Guitar Center Tech in 2019, just as COVID broke. I specifically asked for the original parts back, and the dick effed around and lost them. I'm my tech now. I've learned so much. I think it's great. There are a lot of things that you can do, and there are a lot of people who say you shouldn't do that. And I think we get programmed to think that you can't think for yourself.
Correct.
And that the guy at the music store has got to be smarter than you, because by golly, he works at the music store, and when you work at Joe's guitar shop, you call the shots.
He's got a beard and a cool hat,
and check out his tattoos.
Yeah, he's kind of surly,
and a Motorhead T-shirt. He must know what's up.
Yeah.
Mike Jones says, my guitar tech broke my truss rod trying to set up my Strat. Then he tried to straighten the neck on a toaster oven for a couple hours. It didn't do anything but make the bow stronger. Okay. Now that's a perfect example of somebody who kind of knows what's going on, but doesn't really know what's going on. So heat is a way that you can adjust necks when you're okay. Let's unpack this a little bit. If you broke the truss rod, then that neck is dead.
Yeah, until you fix the truss rod.
And you either buy a new neck or replace the truss rod.
Yeah.
I doubt that it was broken, but I'm not calling Mike a liar. But I think oftentimes
the nut was probably stripped.
Oftentimes things happen, and the rod isn't. I hear that a lot. The truss rod broke. Like it broke in half in the middle of the rod stripped out, or the thread stripped out. There's sometimes you can do stuff.
Or it bottomed out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that happen to those.
But let's say you didn't have a busted truss rod. Heating the neck is a way to move it and manipulate it. But I tried that once. It's not for how about this? Probably shouldn't. It's not recommended. Dan Erlewine doesn't have a book where he says, "Okay, now get your toaster oven out."
Yeah. That's a last ditch effort on a neck that everything else has been tried on. Yeah, I think. Yeah. And it's well, let's try it. If it doesn't work, we know what the next option is. It's new neck time. Yeah. Or yeah. But yeah, doing something like that. And doing something like that to cover up something else is bad. Oh, Mike says he's his own guitar tech, by the way. well, Mike, yeah. So is he the one that threw the toaster oven at it? Perhaps. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Lavrig said, my tech built 3 for me and will make any changes mods. The first guitar has the neck modified 3 times. Now he knows what I like. Well, that's okay. There you go. I think that's cool. That's kind of the what I was talking about with a little bit of bench time up front. You know, well, how do you like your action? What do you want it to be? What kind of strings do you like? Yeah. You know, okay, let's take some measurements. Let's look at this. Let's look at that. Yeah, I think we can fix this. Or I think it's going to be a bigger job than you think it's going to be, you know, whatever. But yeah, writing up a ticket and shoving it in back and then coming back however long later is something that's not right. It's not really being a guitar tech. So what's guitar tech? I don't even know what that means. Well, I think that means the guy in the Motorhead T-shirt with the cool beard and the earring. Well, so a lot of people say, well, you know, I took it to my luthier. Is the luthier a guitar tech? Is a guitar tech a luthier? Okay, all right. This dovetails very nicely into, are the guys at the Fender Custom Shop guitar techs?
Not really. They're Strat and Telly builders.
Well, and I think
that's no
going through setting up a guitar right at the end on a brand new guitar is very different than repair work or even setting something up, down the road, 2 months or 3 months down the road.
You and I are not guitar repair guys.
No.
I
have done some of that. I do not want to do a lot of that.
I don't want to do any more of it. You could fill entire books of stuff I don't know about guitar. Oh, wait, there are.
Yeah. And somebody like Dan Erlewine is absolutely a guitar repair guy. And I would say,
among other things,
guitar, repair, luthier, setup, everything.
Yeah.
That guy knows it all.
Yeah.
There aren't a whole lot of those guys around.
There are very, very few, and they're getting less and less. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But you're right, Chris. So is the guy who works at the Paul Reed Smith? Okay. Are the guys at the Fender Custom Shop luthiers? Kinda, but kinda not.
Yeah, maybe.
And again, there's no slam on the guys at the Fender Custom. Are the guys at the Gibson factory? Are they guitar techs? Is everybody who works at PRS a luthier? Probably not. You know.
Am I a luthier? I am not a luthier.
No. Why not?
I know how to build guitars. I know how to work on guitars. I'm not a luthier.
How come?
For one thing, I don't. I think luthier is a more encompassing thing. I think bent sides. I think arched tops. I think bracing. I think things like that.
I think you're right. Building an electric guitar is worlds away from building.
The only similarity is six strings and frets. In a lot of ways. Yeah. So it doesn't mean that I couldn't do it. It doesn't mean that I couldn't learn how to do it. But I wouldn't call myself a luthier.
Okay. We have a technical question.
Okay.
Let's come back to that though, because that's a good one.
Is it a question for a luthier?
It's a question specifically for you and I. Okay. Shane wants to know, which neck profile do you gentlemen prefer? Well, maybe it's not for us. He says gentlemen. Okay. But which neck profile do you prefer? The modern C or the 57 V2C?
Now, of our two neck profiles? Of our two neck.
Now, Shane, when you are okay. You have to remember that the Challenger neck and the Strat neck, for which the V2C was patterned after, the Challenger neck is shorter. The heel is in a different place. So the V2C on the Challenger is neat, but it's not exactly the same as it is on Jim's 57 Strat, right? Okay. Yeah. All right. So now
that is a very, very 57 Strat style neck. Yeah. It's the quintessential 57 Strat neck, which is maybe why we patterned it after that one.
It also happens to be the same neck that Ted Newman Jones used to make a lot. But.
Yeah. I tend to like the C neck better, just because I don't have a lot of playing time on a V neck. I had an acoustic with a V neck. I had a Seagull, and that wasn't the reason that I sold the guitar. I sold the guitar because it sucked. That was just one of the reasons. It was just very blah. Then I bought it back and it was still blah, which was weird. Anyway, yeah, just because I like that C shape better.
I think the C shape is probably my favorite too, but it's not particularly big. Now, the V to C is also not particularly big. No. It's slightly thicker.
Slightly, yeah.
I think that
the shoulders are shorter.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I will one day do is make the V to C neck profile thicker than it is now. And I think I'd also like to make if there's a modern C, I might like to make like a Y or a thick C.
Yeah.
Because I think that chunkier necks are cool.
You like chunkier necks?
Yeah, and our modern C is not, it's kind of right. It's not like a Gibson 60s neck. It's kind of in between the 50s and 60s neck. I don't know. It's the neck that I always make or pretty close to it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I got small hands. I find a smaller neck better for me.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to let that stop me from playing certain guitars.
Glorified G says all of his truss rods are out of adjustment. Well, get to adjusting them, sir.
That's the thing.
Or madam. Yeah,
where you live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell when it's time to adjust truss rods because all my guitars go out of tune. It's not as bad anymore because I keep my stuff humidified. But yeah, there were some years where I would grab a guitar off the wall after having played it the week before and go, "Oh, there's something wrong with this guitar."
Yeah.
Not that you can fix tuning with a truss rod adjustment, but it's a good indicator that things aren't exactly the same as they were the week before.
Yeah. Let's see. 3J Music says, thank you, Chris, for saying it. Drives me crazy when people can't distinguish between luthiers and techs. Okay. Glorified G says gunsmith versus Bubba. Done it. Lefty says lots of people work in factories, only know one specific thing they do, doesn't make them an expert at the product. And also talks about the gunsmithing thing. So yeah.
I think you have to be a little bit of a problem solver on some of this stuff too, and have some processes and steps down. And you can't just and I think a lot of guitar guys just sort of throw whatever their favorite new issue is at a guitar. For a while it seemed like everybody had a twisted neck. Oh, my neck's twisted.
Yeah,
my neck's twisted. How do you know? The tech said it's twisted. How does he know?
Yeah, what tools did they use to measure this twist?
Yeah, to measure this.
Now, to be fair, sometimes you can
magical
see it.
twist. You can see it sometimes. You can also convince yourself you can see it when it's not really a thing. You have to look at it from several different ways. But and I don't know that I've seen that many twisted necks recently. Now maybe things have changed, but I think it's just the way that all works. So you have to you have to have some. I don't know. One, I think you have to say to yourself, as a guitar tech, I should be able to fix this. Two, I need to run it through all the steps. I need to start here and end here and figure out what's wrong with it before I dictate before I tell somebody, oh, this guitar sucks. Or whatever it is.
The best guitar techs are probably those guys who you don't even know who they are, and they keep, I don't know, the guys in Iron Maiden who fly around their own plane and they go from California to Buenos Aires to all. Whoever keeps those guitars playing, that person or those people are good techs. The guy who
and those guys, one of the things that those guys get to do is get very, very, very familiar with
specific instruments
and specific players and how they like their stuff. And everybody likes their stuff a little bit different. And so and if you take your guitar to a guy and he writes up a ticket, and puts it away, he's probably not a good guitar tech because you're not going to get the guitar back the way you want it.
Maybe not. Yeah.
If we have a friend, Jeff LaQuatra, whose guitar tech recently retired, and he was in a panic trying to find somebody else that could do it because this guy would take notes and knew exactly what Jeff liked and exactly how Jeff liked all his guitars. Now that guy was unwilling to share that information with us.
He was?
Jeff didn't have it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Why would you give it
to a whole book
the guy?
Of Jeff LaQuatra notes?
Whole peachy full.
Yeah.
No, but why would you give those specs to the customer? Because then they could just take it to somebody else. Yeah. But when that guy was like, I don't know, okay. So
Dan Andrade sent us a super chat and said, thank you, Matt and Chris, for a great year of entertainment. Brian made him do it. Thank you so much, Dan. That's very kind of you. So I would imagine Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitar tech, one of you guys I'm sure knows that guy's name. It was a rare show indeed where he didn't play that old beat up whatever it was guitar. But do you think if that guitar needed new frets, do you think that tech did it?
I think he may have done it, but maybe not. That guitar ended up with several necks over its lifetime because they just couldn't put any more new ones in. And then lighting fell on it and broke the neck, so they put the one that needed refret back on it. That's the neck that's on it now.
Okay.
Nerd.
But
I don't know. That guy did everything though.
Okay.
And was pretty solid. And if your one main job during that tour is to take care of Stevie Ray's guitars,
you probably get really good at taking care of that
might
instrument.
Be able to do fret work or a fret job.
Dog Dr. Tim. Dog Doctor. I'm like Dog Dr. Tim, who has been here before.
Okay.
Sent us a super chat and said, "What a lovely wall of guitars behind you, gentlemen. Who made them?" Well, we did.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris. Let's talk a little bit about guitars that when you buy them, you might need a truss rod adjustment, but they should not ever, ever, ever need to go to a guitar tech at Guitar Center. Any of these instruments behind us. What you talked about maybe an end of the year blowout.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think we could do something like that. Yeah, I think we should do something like that.
The end of the year is coming right up.
It is. Yeah, it's next week. Well, we could have there's lots of things you can call a sale. End of the year sale, beginning of the year sale.
Okay.
Yeah, it's time for sale.
Okay.
But I think we could have another sale. I think a lot of people missed out on some deals that we had for Black Friday.
I think they did too.
And, makes me sad.
I think that there are going to be a lot of surprises in 2025 on our website.
Okay.
Chief among them is how much more stuff is going to have to cost in 2025.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the way it's going now. Everything, as you can imagine, as the price of, let's say, gas goes up or the price of milk goes up, it takes a while for everything else to catch up to that, but it eventually does. And that's just kind of the way it goes.
Yeah. And the prices that we sell guitars for is not sustainable.
No.
And in the world of custom made or small builder, I hate the word boutique.
How about bespoke?
Yeah, I always think of bespoke as one at a time.
Okay.
Kind of thing. Yeah, like the toilet paper that I get, the bespoke toilet paper is rolled one at a time on an ancient tree limb, and it costs a lot. But anyway, two guys in America making guitars. Those guitars are going to be a little bit more than a giant factory in a country with very little labor cost. And if you compare our guitars even to some other big American factories, they're cheap and they're a bargain. And you can say, well, and our guitars don't cost anywhere near what a custom shop guitar costs, but that custom shop guitar is more production line than our guitar. And that's an absolute fact.
Yep.
Just because some guy that's a master builder touches the guitar a few times doesn't mean that guitar isn't a production line guitar.
Nope. Let's go to the chat section, Chris, because there's some stuff here I want to get to before we call it a night here. Terry Heim says, "I'm still eyeing that pink PRS style Texas Toast guitar." And then
two of those.
There's two of those, and he goes on
tail and a trim. Vibrato.
And then he goes on to say, "But I needed another guitar like a hole in the head." Terry, let me tell you something.
I don't know how many holes in your head you already have. Two, I don't know the right number of holes in your head.
But more importantly, Terry, I have a solution for you. You could do what our friend JD did. Sell all your other crap and buy something good. So, and that JD didn't have a bunch of crap. He had tellies and
No,
stuff.
but he had a bunch of guitars that he was no longer interested in playing.
Yeah.
And that it can be a thing.
You can,
You're
and you
allowed to go, you know
that's
what?
right.
As much as I really liked this guitar at one point, or as much as I really liked whatever it is, yeah.
Or you could do what I like to do, and that's say, I'm going to buy this, and then to offset that cost, I'm going to eventually sell off some of this, and whether you do or not.
Come close to doing that several times recently. Yeah.
And you can look at JD and hear his story on our artist page on the website, which I didn't even know if you guys knew there was an artist page on the website.
There is now.
But there is now.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So just buy the good one. You mentioned something today.
You want me to re-say that?
What?
Go ahead.
I don't know what you said. That.
Oh, go ahead. No, tell what you were going to say.
You mentioned something today about how buying something cool should probably sting a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that what you were going to talk about? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely believe that. Yeah. Because
I think that's a great way to think about it.
And it doesn't have to sting a lot, and you don't have to go into debtor's prison to get it.
Yeah.
But I think most people, to get something that they really like, that's really cool to them, it's got to be a little bit out of your comfort zone, and it's got to bite you a little bit. You got to be like, I'm gonna have to love this thing. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love it.
I think if you want to grow as a person, you have to get outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah. And
okay, so take this shop for example. This shop was way outside of my comfort zone. Chris, you and I used to work out of my garage. Well, I was already paying that mortgage. So I was like, okay, well, I just don't park in the garage. Not a big deal. The most discomfort I got was having to scrape snow off my car in the wintertime.
And pay a little bit more electrical bill.
Yeah.
At your house.
Well, now, I pay $40,000 a year just to have this shop space. And, and that's it. I guess people don't get that. They're like, how come your guitars aren't $300? Well, because I would be out of business almost immediately if that was the case, because it costs a lot of money to do this, and it takes a lot of time to do this. And there's no marketing team like there are at some big thing. It's you, me, and Joy, and Jim, and all you guys who post stuff on Facebook and say these guitars kick ass. So yeah. Anyway, Butch has a weird question here. Can you believe that?
Why would he not?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me let you look surprised for a second. Okay. What was the final outcome of the glossy purple guitar ding guy? Or is it a secret Christmas tree?
So we really.
So here's what it was. We got the guitar back and we sold it.
We gave the guys back. So we sent him another guitar.
Oh, that's right.
Dinged too.
In exactly the same place.
We've never, ever, 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 ever had a guitar damage like that before.
Let alone two going to the same address. Yeah,
to the same address. His UPS guy must be like a ninja master at fucking up shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, without claiming conspiracy or whatever, we ended up selling both those guitars for
a loss.
For a loss, yeah, for a discount. Both of them, the guys that got them love them.
Yep.
Stuff like that breaks my heart.
Gosh, maybe we should just put a ding in every guitar.
Just ship them out like that. Yeah.
This comes pre-disastered.
Yeah.
Jay, your guitar will be 2024.
A second guitar and a guitar that's a second, and you get it, and you're not sure what. The
which is that? Yeah, where's
Yeah, is it because of the first damage or the second damage from the time you got it?
Yeah.
And I say that because I got a guitar, and it was a second, and they didn't tell you the exact damage, and this guitar showed up, and it was like the shittiest packing job I've ever seen. There were zipper burns all over it because the gig bag never got zipped up before they packed it. It was the most bizarre thing.
We set that guitar up?
No.
Okay.
I bought a guitar that one time. I opened the box. The headstock was actually sticking out of the gig bag.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah. What's the original damage? Should I call and say, this guitar is way more damaged than you said? Or is this the damage they were talking about? So,
Jay, yours will be 2024 prices. Terry says that he actually has I forgot. Terry has the purple metallic guitar.
Yeah. And
so he knows
he
what
he
says he knows it will be fantastic. So Terry, we've got 2 of these, and there's a sale inbound. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to be soon.
It'll be pretty quick. Yeah. The weird thing about this holiday season is that it falls dead center in the middle of the week. And we talked about, if you follow traditional holiday rules, you take Christmas Eve day off.
Oh, yeah.
You take Christmas off, and you probably take day after Christmas off to return all your stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which cashes us out on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then you repeat the same exact thing the next week.
Monkey wants to know, how do I get on the artist page? He belongs there.
He does,
I mean, well, we got to get a picture, sir.
His bass and his surf band probe.
Yeah, that's what we have to do, Ian. I need to see you, by the way.
Send us a picture and write a little bio for yourself.
Come in and take
you can even lie.
Yeah, you could even lie if you want.
His first stint in Iron Maiden included,
Jeremy says that he thinks the Texas Toast label carries more value than Gibson. That's high praise. I am a fan of Gibson. I am. I know that. I don't know why people have to get binaried into either Fender or Gibson, but it often happens.
Yeah, that happens, and I think there's I think there's people that are just PRS, and there's people that are just whatever, or have a whole lot of reverends in their guitar factory.
I know. You know what?
The guy, he sold a bunch of them to buy some of his factory stuff. I think that happens. I think
Doc says, cheers. Don't forget to invoice. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we need to do that. Doc, how about I do that tomorrow? Ask Jay how that'll go. But Jay and Doc, I say this all. Okay, I need to just do that. Here's what happens when I come into the shop. I was working on some icons today, and I'm like, ooh, I'm doing icon stuff. And then I really need to do a bunch of other stuff. And then and
you think about it for a minute, and then you don't think about it till later.
And then I forget.
And then you go, oh, I need to do that. And then you forget about it again.
Chris says, I was off for Christmas Eve, came home sick on Christmas, and had to miss tonight as well. Oh, that's a bummer, Chris. I'm sorry that you're not feeling well. Steve says, try having a Les Paul show up wrapped in a small torn up UPS boxes taped around it. Can't believe it only had 2 dents in the front. Wow, yikes.
Yeah.
Jay, you do have to keep reminding me because I am very forgetful, and I'm not trying to seek perfection. I'm encouraging laziness on my behalf. So, but anyway, So we had some guitars got put together, like that one wasn't put together for the.
Yep, that one wasn't. The other fade wasn't.
Yeah, the Uptown Fade,
and the Downtown.
Downtown Fade, yeah.
So
these guitars were
revealed tomorrow.
Of these guys,
we could re-talk about them. We should show some other things that we got done.
This is the last of the level 3s right here. This one's pretty neat. So
last of the V8s right there.
Last of the V8 interceptors right here. There we go.
There we go.
Now we got it. What's in this one? These are the Seymour Duncans in this one?
No.
What the Seymour Duncans are in that one?
Yeah.
Okay. We don't know what I can't remember what's in this one.
Yep.
But
Can we be done?
Huh?
Can we be done?
Yeah, I think we can be done.
Okay.
We've got just a few more minutes, except for we got a Joey Dano guitar. Says Brian made me do it. Hey, Doug, what are we doing with?
Jesus, I apologize.
All right, Doug, what are we doing with these? Are you and Jim had some kind of thing, and you sent me a text, and you're like, "Hey, so am I to send you an invoice for these, Doug? Because these will not be used in Hawkatech any longer. This one says Mr. Sweet Dick on the back. Anyway, let me know, Doug, because actually, if you and Jim want to get that sorted out, again, I will make it happen. And yeah. And Terry says he's leaning towards the hardtail pink one. Terry, that'd be a great one. And I know that you would love it. Anyway, so we're going to wrap it up for this Boxing Day. Thank you for that super chat, by the way, Doug. We're going to wrap it up for the Boxing Day live stream. And I want you guys to go over and hang out with my good buddy Dylan. Excuse me, at Dylan Talks Tone. He and his lovely wife, Leslie, will be talking about, I believe it's the best guitars of 2024 or the best guitar videos of 2024, if I'm not mistaken. And he'll probably be taking your questions and hanging out with you guys for at least an hour, probably longer, talking about guitar stuff and whatever else drifts through your transom and whatever else you guys want to talk about. And so Dylan's probably getting ready and psyched up for that. Chris says that he wants to do a reveal video tomorrow, and
if you want to,
maybe we could do that. Now, you know what though? I don't know that I want to. What is tomorrow? Friday. I don't know that I want to be here all day tomorrow, but we could do a reveal at some point.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, so anyway, gang, thanks for hanging out with us, and we will see you tomorrow at some point, and that should be fun. Thanks for hanging out. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Still got 3 minutes.
I know we're gonna call. Now I'm just not gonna sit. Okay. Oh, well,
we'll just sit here and stare at the camera.
How about we let everybody go get a snack?
Okay.
And then they go watch Dylan.
And then they could go pee.
And they go watch Dylan. All right.
Watch Dylan.
Have a good night, everybody.